Hello, everyone. Welcome to another educative episode of the Pharmacist podcast. Today, I'll be discussing a germane topic which, in actual fact, causes misunderstanding between patients or members of the public and healthcare professionals, especially pharmacists. And this is the issue of herbal medicines. Many people believe that pharmacists or doctors hate herbal medicines. They think that we favor orthodox medicines over herbs, and because of this, some people even take these herbs secretly with their orthodox medicines without the knowledge of their healthcare providers. I have therefore found it necessary to give you the information that you need about herbal medicine, while sharing with you some reasons why we might have some reservations about them. But in actual fact, there's really no beef with herbal medicines. So, let's get right into it. Herbal medicines, or simply herbs, are products made from plants that are used to treat diseases or to maintain health. The medicinal plant itself is the herb, while the preparation made from it is the medicine. Hence the name herbal medicines or herbal products, as you like to call it. These herbal medicines come in different forms, such as pills, powders or tinctures, capsules, infusions, decoctions, gels, lotions, cream, depending on which disease you're treating or which part of the body you're actually administering it. Some even come in dried or chopped bits, which can be brewed as tea, and these are prepared from different parts of plants, from the leaves to the barks to the flowers to the seeds and all of that. I would group herbal medicines into two categories. The first is the standardized ones, while the second is the unstandardized ones. When I say standardized, I mean the content of the herbs and the quantities are spelled out. Some even have dosage. This is commonly seen in Chinese supplements and some locally produced supplements as well. Examples of such herbs are ginkgo biloba, ginseng, green tea, St. John's wort, evening primrose, saw palmetto, milk thistle, and a host of others. I'm sure you're familiar with this. And of course, these are sold in pharmacies. That's my first evidence that we do not eat herbal medicines at all. The second category, the unstandardized herbal medicines, are the ones we commonly refer to as agbo. It comes with different names and types. You see agbo iba, agbo jedi, opayin, awugbarun, and so on. They have different names, even in other languages that I may not know. I say all this because I'm Yoruba and those are the ones I'm familiar with. I'm sure that you know others that I may not know, but all of them, they are herbal products. These are not sold in pharmacies and are produced and sold by various individuals. Some are traditional medicine practitioners. Others will say they went to learn it. This is where the reservations start coming in. It will interest you to know that some of the orthodox medicines are actually made from plants. A common and popular example is your anti-malaria. The artemisinin combination therapies that you use, like your artemether lumefantrine, dihydroartemisinin piperacin, and others in this class, are made from a Chinese plant called Artemisia annua. Also, the quinine derivatives are made from cinchona barks. Anti-cancer drugs like vincristine are also made from a plant called Catharanthus roseus. Digoxin, which is used for heart failure or arrhythmias, is made from a plant called digitalis. Even your coffee is the source of caffeine, the stimulant. And there are many more like that. The major difference between these orthodox medicines containing these herbs and your herbal medicine is that those in the orthodox medicine have undergone various processes, from extraction to purification to characterization to quality control. Even clinical trials have been carried out on them before arriving at a dosage. So, their safety and efficacy have been confirmed majorly by the FDA, that is the Food Drug Administration of the United States, and other regulatory bodies. I've discussed the process of this in past episodes. But as for the standardized herbal medicines, otherwise known as herbal supplements, although they go through some of the aforementioned processes like extraction, purification, standardization, and even quality control, no clinical trials are carried out on them because they are considered as food, not drugs, by the FDA, and so they are less regulated. So safety and efficacy is not guaranteed. If you buy any of those and you check their labels, you see where it is written that this product has not been evaluated by the FDA or NAFDAC, or these claims have not been evaluated by FDA or NAFDAC. This means that you take it at your own risk. Most of them are not expected to treat any disease, so the risk of dying from the disease because the herbal medicine is ineffective is very low. Some also use it and claim that it works for them, so it's an open-ended thing. But like I said, most of these are supplements that do not treat any disease. So people that have some chronic conditions like diabetes, for example, they use anti-diabetic medications and some of these supplements just like adjuncts. And this is allowed because these products are standardized and what is in them is known. So the interaction with the medicines can be researched and found out. Alright, I need to make that clarification before I go further. Now, talking about the unstandardized herbal preparations, this is where your pharmacist may not agree with you. This is because these products do not go through any of the processes I mentioned earlier. Although some are extracted because solvents are used to get the phytochemicals out. That's why they are mostly in liquid forms. There is no purification, characterization, or quality control, not to talk of dosage. Since there is no regulation, just anybody can claim to be making them. Hygiene is not guaranteed because they can be prepared anywhere. Some take them and develop even worse symptoms than the initial ones that made them to take these herbal preparations in the first place. Apart from hygiene, I mentioned that solvents are used to extract the constituents in the plant. The two most common solvents are water and alcohol. This is because most of the constituents in most herbs will dissolve in this solvent. In an herb, there can be as much as hundreds of constituents. The one responsible for the action you are interested in may be just one or two of all this, but your solvent can extract many of these constituents, leaving you with an herbal preparation containing other things than your compound of interest. This may lead to adverse reactions due to the unwanted action of those other constituents. But like I said, no purification. So we take both the wanted and the unwanted together, leading to some unwanted reactions as well, like I mentioned. Apart from this, some herb makers do some unwholesome practices. Usually for effective extraction, a mixture of solvents should be used in appropriate ratio. It may be 70:30 of alcohol or methanol and water, or vice versa, or other suitable ratios. That was just an example, and these ratios are not arbitrary because it depends on your compound of interest and the solvent ratio that can actually extract it best, which is a product of extensive research. Since herb sellers are not researchers, most of them do not even bother. Of course, most of them are not educated. They just mix solvents anyhow. That's if they mix them at all. Most use up to 100% alcohol, therefore turning what is supposed to be a herbal medicine to alcohol beverage. So most people that buy these herbal preparations buy them not because they want to treat any illness, but because they want cheap alcohol. Another unwholesome practice is mixing orthodox medicines with these herbal preparations. I've heard of herb sellers that mix crushed paracetamol with the herbs. One even came to my premise one time and wanted to buy chloramphenicol capsules, which according to her, she wanted to mix with an herbal preparation for typhoid. I was flabbergasted really because that was the first time I was hearing anything like that. I'm sure that you know some of these practices too. Imagine the damages these are doing to the liver and kidneys of consumers unknown to them. You just go and buy one herb that was put in a bottle. You don't know the content. It doesn't even have a proper dosage. Some will say take 1 cup morning and night, whereas consumer A's cup may be bigger than consumer B's cup, but it is sure 1 cup happy. Others will pour it inside nylon that you cut with your teeth and down at a go. When we say all this, the usual argument is that how many people have died from taking herbs? Others say that shebi it is what our grandparents used and they didn't die. They even gave us as children. So why are we painting herbal medicines in bad light? My answers to these arguments are: 1. That you don't know people dying from taking herbs personally doesn't mean that there aren't people who have died from it and are still dying. A lot of people with failed kidneys receiving dialysis in various renal centers across the country. This is the genesis of their problems. But how many of them do you know personally who will share their story with you until it's your turn? God forbid, but it's left to you, Number 2, I mentioned in one of my previous episodes that food was majorly the medicines our grandparents used to stay healthy, coupled with healthy lifestyles. Most of them do not consume herbs anyhow like we do today. They took personally, hygienically prepared and well-stored herbs, which they used for themselves and probably their grandchildren, only when required, not as an alcohol beverage, and not ones that have been mixed with all sorts, because the makers of today's herbs, at least most of them, are business people, not traditional medicine practitioners, who learnt the art of making their herbs properly, mostly handed down to them through their generations. We can also not rule out the possibility of some of these grandparents having died from kidney diseases undiagnosed, as medicine was not as advanced then as it is now. I hope with these points of mine, I have been able to convince you that those two arguments are neither plausible nor accurate. Did you know that pharmacists are traditional medicine specialists too? At least those that pick interest in that aspect of pharmacy, which we call pharmacognosy. I know of pharmacists that treat people strictly using herbal medicines, and they are situated especially in rural areas where the people there are not very open to orthodox medicines, and they are doing well. These are professionals that have learned all there is to know about these herbs and their functions, how to best extract and prepare them to maximize their therapeutic effect without causing more harm to the users. It may also interest you to know that in other countries like China, Korea, Japan, India, especially those that have a lot of medicinal plants in their natural environment, Oriental medicine or naturopathic medicine as they call it is being practiced and is recognized as a standard treatment option with clinics and doctors that patients can consult and all of that. Although Nigeria has a lot of medicinal herbs as well, we have not reached that level yet. But like I said, there are professionals who practice traditional medicine. Apart from this, pharmacists in the field have also taken it upon themselves to educate traditional medicine practitioners on ways to make their practices more wholesome. I remember participating in an herbal symposium organized by my faculty for traditional medicine practitioners, otherwise known as herbalists, when I was an undergraduate. We had nothing less than 50 of them for a 4-day workshop, and they got certificates after. Another case in point of pharmacists not harboring any aid for herbal products, you see. Instead, we aim to make them safe and effective for use by the general public. I think we deserve some accolades for this. As pharmacists, our aim is that you get well and get the optimal benefit from your medicines, either orthodox or traditional medicines. Only we don't want you mixing both. Stick with one. It's either you opt for your herbal preparations, good ones or your orthodox medicines. Do not combine. I've told you the only caveat for combination, and that's on the advice of your pharmacist. Don't just go and take one herbal supplement and start mixing with your medications. No, as long as they are sold in pharmacies, ask questions before you combine any. But as for your herbal preparations, your agbo, please do not mix with your orthodox medicine. The simple reason behind this advice is to avoid drug interactions. I have talked extensively about this in past episodes, especially since for most of the herbal preparations, you don't know their constituents. It might just result to toxicity or therapeutic failure. So in your own interest, pick one and stick to it. I'll wrap this episode up by giving some precautions to take when choosing herbal preparations for those that prefer them. First, educate yourself. Learn as much as you can about the herbs you're taking. Ask questions from the person you are buying it from. What it contains, what to take with it, what not to take with it. Because just like drugs, it is a potential poison and it could harm you if care is not taken. If the seller is avoiding answering your questions or is giving you vague answers, that's your cue to abort mission. 2. Find a reliable source for your herbal preparations. I've mentioned that many specialist herbalists are around. It is your duty to seek them out and find them instead of buying from hawkers all around. You can even find out how knowledgeable they are about the herbs they are selling by asking them politely and subtly about their training. After all, your health is paramount. Number 3, follow the instruction on usage strictly and use according to the dosage given. Ask specific questions about dosing. For example, if they say take 1 cup, ask how big the cup should be. If they say take 2 spoons, ask which type of spoon. Is it teaspoon or tablespoon? Number 4, watch for side effects. If symptoms such as nausea, dizziness, headache, or upset stomach occurs, reduce the dosage or stop taking the herbal medicine and inform the person who gave it to you. Number 5, and the final one, be alert for allergic reactions such as rashes, skin itches and scratching, swellings, and the likes. Since you may not be familiar with the constituents of the herbs you are taking, you may not know if you are allergic to it. Severe allergic reaction can cause difficulty in breathing, and that could result easily to death, so take extra care. And that's all I have for you on today's episode. I hope you were able to get value. As usual, send your questions and comments to us either in the question and answer section under the podcast on Spotify or in our DMs on our social media platforms, both on IG and X. Also, like, subscribe, follow, and share this podcast to your friends and family. As usual, these are very important information that everyone should know. For collaborations, mail us via antipharmacistpodcast@gmail.com. You can also send your suggested topics to us through this route. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, stay healthy and God bless you.